Wow, what a beautiful morning it is here at Crossways at the start of the M&G PLETT for 2023. 11th year of this incredible journey, 4 days down to PLETT, just short of PLETT this year at Nature's Valley. But day one, wow, a little bit of a tailwind, clear skies, and 61.4 Ks as they roll down to the overnight stop at Plettenberg near Jeffreys Bay. Some early stress as they climb early on, but once the legs are warmed up, they're going to have thrilling riding all the way down across the Plettenberg River, that beautiful old historic bridge, and then head towards Plettenberg. Day one, 268 riders. Cannot wait to get rolling and racing down to Plettenberg. Enjoy.
The Crossways village was buzzing with expectation and excitement ahead of stage one. By all standards, it was ideal riding conditions. Rain a few days ago left the trails firm and tacky. The early kilometres took them up some of the amazing single tracks that abound on the Three Rivers Trails network. A brief dip into the close on 200 Ks they have on offer, and a small taste of what was to come to the sellout field over the next 3 days of the M&G PLETT. They were cheered on their way by the trail builders, who were chuffed to see them enjoy the fruits of their labours. The field was a collection of a select few pros, some sleek, fit and strong amateurs, and a gaggle of enthusiastic weekend warriors in pursuit of some adventure, who'd all committed to completing the 4-day journey on either regular bikes or e-bikes. And they all had their own reasons for taking on the challenge. The first water point at 14 kilometres was also the King of the Mountains, where earlier Rousseau Becker and Matt Kaiser had taken the prize, while Danielle Stradom and Carla Stumpf were the first women over the line. And others were taking the time to chill. The journey continued as they wound through the MTO's Longmore Forest trails, and they dropped down a long, thrilling descent to the Plettenberg River. The historic centuries-old railway bridge would perhaps not tolerate a modern-day train, but a steady stream of tiptoeing riders made their way safely over to the South Bank. For the riders at the back of the field, the mercury was rising rapidly, which had some seeking the cool of a shady tree. But the vibe was positive and upbeat, particularly with that PLETT standard, the M&G Boost Bar, just around the corner. A much-needed boost of energy 10 Ks from home, and they were soon flying once again. The magnificent J Bay hove into view as they followed the old narrow-gauge railway line near the Plettenberg River mouth. The stage winners at Plettenberg were Buka Type Dev giants Rudy Kuhn and Franco van Sail, ahead of Valley Electrical Titan Racing's Rousseau Becker and Matt Kaiser, while Jonita McKenzie and Michelle Reed just held off the Mbuka pair of Danielle Stradom and Carla Stumpf. Day one done and dusted, it was a true beauty.
The Plettenberg start line for the M&G Investments PLETT Day 2. Queen Stage, 80 Ks, 1,350 metres of climbing. They've sorted themselves out after what was a relatively comfortable first day, and now the racing really is going to be red hot as they make their way to Bosch down the valley there. It is going to be a beaut of the day, clear skies and a little bit of a tailwind some of the way. It's going to be wonderful riding.
And away they rolled from Plettenberg. The journey continues on to Bosch. From a racing perspective, there was very little in it in both the men's and women's elite races. If any day was designed to shake up the GC standings, this was it. An old school tough and rough rumble to the Langkloof through the Suriname Mountains. Some fast flat drags through the wind farm chewed up the early kilometres. Janine Oosthuizen was the solo women's leader, looking very comfortable. A small dam near the Zwartenbosch golf course presented an enticing invitation to cool down. We then dropped down into the disused Langkloof railway line, on which for many years the fruit farmers of the kloof relied to transport their harvest to the harbour in PE. The smart security water point was a hive of happy, smiling faces. Charging towards the Suriname Mountains and the Churchill Dam was next. and they were just loving the free and fast downhill kilometers. At 52 k's, the second water point was also the King of the Mountains, where Rogan Smart had snatched the bonus prize and Danielle Stratum had taken it for the women. The temperature down in the valleys peaked in the mid-40s, but the majestic views and remote trails made for a good distraction. Although not everyone could summon up the energy to look at the Proteas. The Queen stage certainly lived up to her reputation. The numbers are one thing, but the terrain and the weather turned the day into a brute as they pedaled through the hard, exposed terrain. A welcome hosepipe shower from a generous local farmer brought smiles and thanks from the boiling riders. And 10 k's from the finish, the M&G Investments Boost Bar was an oasis. Iced coffee was the business. After a short drag on the R62, they were at Assegai and the finish. Imbuco Type Dev giants Rudy Kuhn and Franco van Zyl increased their overall lead over Valley Electrical Titan Racing with another big stage win. And their female teammates Danielle Stratum and Carla Stumpf dominated the women's race to take the overall lead with a stage win from Aspire Action Cycles, Jonita McKenzie and Michelle Reed.
They're lining up here at Assegai on stage 3 of the M&G Investments PE PLETT. It's a relatively short day, 57 k's, 1,000 meters of climbing. The first challenge is the King of the Mountains. Virtually as they leave the venue here, they head up the mountain and then behind Carriedo and then over the mountains onto the ocean plain on the far side, into those beautiful lush Tsitsikamma forests and heading to the Tsitsikamma Village Inn, which is our race village, our final race village today. The racing up front, well, it's the Imbuco Type Dev team in both the men's and the women's. They're dominating. Can anyone catch them today? We'll wait and see.
After the roasting they received in the Stage 2 oven, the combination of cloudy, cool weather and a 57-kilometer route had the 260 riders smiling as they rolled away for Stage 3. The leading group had warmed up and they were already putting time into the big group behind. Further back, the race had splintered in spectacular fashion, with small bunches grinding their way up to the summit in their own time. At the top, Franco van Zyl took the day's bonus prize ahead of Matt Kaiser, Rousseau Becker and Rudy Kuhn. The Simply Store e-bike team with the next team across the line. Exhilarating Refilwe Mokhorosi and Mpile Motong in full flight, smashing the descent with speed and grace. Women's race leaders in Imbuco Type Dev Liv, Danielle Stratum and Carla Stumpf had teamed up for the first time. Back on the dirt road towards the Easter River, Nsipho Ntembu heads up the cycling program at Plett's Kwano Cycling Academy in cruise control. Up ahead, second-placed Becker and Kaiser were chasing the Imbuco boys for all they were worth. Waterpoint 1 was on a route regular on the massive Regain Protea farm, where food and lube was in good supply. A chance to escape into a world of natural beauty for 4 days, thanks to all the landowners who make their farms available for the event. Away from the Protea dairy farms, the Tsitsikamma region is a mix of indigenous forests and plantations. The roads were broad and shaded. It was an exceptional riding experience. Etienne de Kock and Dane Koppen were in perfect harmony. The M&G Investments PE PLETT is a journey that offers so much to so many. Completed by an off-the-bike experience that is hard to beat. Mike and Andy Parrott were one of a number of father and son combinations in the field. It was a slog for some and a jog for others. The trail soon led them down towards the coast. The Indian Ocean was a stunning sight as they burst out of the forest. This is Robberhoek, one of the countless craggy cliffs that offers dramatic backdrops. Surely you have to stop and take a photograph. The Coimbra guys did, so did Andy, and Corley and Velna, and Dietland and Corin from Namibia. While the stage was a stunning scenic feast, it was no pushover, and the racing was flat out. Franco van Zyl and Rudy Kuhn took the stage ahead of Signal Bike's Ollie Munich and Rogan Smart to cement their hold on the overall lead. and the Mbuko women emulated their male teammates. Danielle Stradom and Carla Stumpf beat Junita McKenzie and Michelle Reed to extend their overall lead with a day to go.
Dawn on the final morning of the M&G Investments PLETT 74 Ks down to Nature's Valley after 3 beautiful days that started up just outside P in Crossways. What's in store for today? Well, firstly, a cooler day, but I think a bit of a headwind for a lot of the riders today. The Tsitsikamma mountain range on the right-hand side here as they leave the forest and head down the old Storms River Pass, one of Mr. Baines's very first creations, and then they'll wind their way through the forest and then drop down to the finish at Nature's Valley. Richly rewarded celebrations there for everyone who completes this wonderful journey on the M&G PLETT.
As if by way of divine organization and intervention, the sun popped out from behind the clouds to cloak the coastal plain in soft, beautiful golden light. The flat exposed road drew out the big guns early, William Majapolo of Exara and Rudy Kun of Mbuko dropping the early watt bombs. They headed through the MTO sapling plantations on towards the lower slopes of the Tsitsikamma range. The leading women's teams are all intact amongst the hard-riding second group of riders. The light but persistent drizzle that had descended over the region on the third afternoon had the dual effect of making the plantation roads firm and tacky, while the section of single track through the lush indigenous forest was a little more like thick chocolate sauce. In fact, the rain had prompted a spring to come to life overnight, which caused no problems for Fani Roo. But Karma had other ideas for his KWV teammate. Ouch! Was that a splash of eesh with your brandy, Dirk Burger? No physical damage done, just a dent to Dirk's pride. Up front among the racers, Kun, Kaiser, Van Sale, Becker, Smart and Munich were flying in formation. Marci Zondani and Alpius Maduna led the chasers. It was a relentless pace, and the first to start to feel the heat were Ollie Munich and Rogan Smart as they slipped off the leading group. They were heading towards the King of the Mountains climb, but first they had to drop down the old Storms River Pass. One of the early passes built by that master road builder Thomas Baines, it was completed in 1885, and since the construction of the Paul Sauer Bridge on the N2, it hasn't seen much traffic since 1964. Except, that is, for mountain bikers. It's a truly beautiful ride. The King of the Mountains was at the top of the southern end of the pass, and the riders were welcomed in like conquering heroes. The lead group was still intact, elder statesman Ollie Munich doing a little yo-yoing, but showing characteristic true grit to stay in touch. The rain did leave an unavoidable obstacle on a flat section of Forest Road. Up ahead, the short chart times continued to put the signal bikes pair under pressure, Mbuko and Titan again opening up a small gap. Belgian Joris Neven even had the energy to race our cameraman. The Tsitsikamma water point saw all the riders take on food and drink. Even the solo women's leader Janine Oosthuizen and the bubbly Xaro women's team. The road continued to take them on a mazy wander in and out of these beautiful plantations. And eventually it led them to the edge of the cliffs. The Indian Ocean doing its best on a grey day to drag the riders' attention away from the trails. What stunning views. For the first time, the route did not take them down the old Blowkrans Pass. Instead, they were heading for the amazing Blowkrans Bridge. Completed in 1983 at a cost of 25 million rand, the 272-meter long arch bridge is home to the world's highest commercial bridge bungee jump. Certainly worth a stop for a pic. Eugene Fontona and Ashley Bales dropped out of the bush and made their way towards the bridge. What an absolute treat to roll along this engineering masterpiece. Nicholas Smith and Darren Smith were closing in on the M&G Investments Boost Bar, where the iced coffees were the bomb and in high demand. The horses now heard the stable door creak. Leon Cotting and Colin Gibb were on the charge. The Stilting School headmaster, Cornelius Kutzer, was being dragged home by David Masterson. A regular feature going up on the reverse route, the Groot Rivier Pass was the best way to finish 4 days of blissful mountain biking escapism. The Mbuko Type Dev Giant and Live teams dominated the racing aspect of the event. They won both the elite men's and women's categories. But the 4 days at the M&G Investments PE PLETT was about so much more.